Hello everyone, good morning and good afternoon. This is Priyanka Rajput. I'm a certified SAP Business by Design consultant at CSG Korea. Welcome to our CSG Friday Coffee Talk with SAP Business by Design. Thank you for joining this session. So today's topic is customer consignment in SAP Business by Design, where we are going to talk about the continuation. Earlier, we had started with the part 1, where we saw the prerequisites and we talked about how to do the consignment fill up and issue sales order. Today, we'll talk about consignment return process. This is today's agenda. So I'll start with a recap with the consignment fill up process and issue and invoicing. Then I'll give you the demo and the introduction on customer consignment return process, which is divided into two parts: before consignment issue and after consignment issue. So this I'll show you in the live demo. Then we'll discuss the key takeaways and then we can have the open discussion. So this is the process flow for customer consignment in SAP Business by Design. So if I talk about like what we covered earlier, then these two parts, fill up process and issue process, this we already done in the previous session. So there we talked about like who is the consignee and the consigner, and consignee is the one who is the customer or the receiver. Consignee is the one who is also an owner and the sender. So on the basis of the request of the consignment goods from the consignee, a sales order fill up is created in the system for from the consigner. So when this is when we do the outbound delivery, then the consignment delivery, which is called, there's an increase in the consignment stock and the decrease in the warehouse stock of this consigner. And after that, if the customer wants to issue, like use those goods from like pre-delivery from their custodian location, they can issue the process. So here the part was there where we have to issue, and for that a customer invoice is created. So sales order issue creation basically will add the consignment stock, and creation of invoice relevant item will be done. So the goods will be issued and issue notification will be given. So this was about fill up and the issue process. Today we are going to talk about the return or the correction process. So basically the consignment return process involves the return of consignment goods to your company. The customer can return the consignment stock due to various reasons, such as defect in the goods or non-sale of stock. When the customer returns the consignment goods to your warehouse without using them, it results in a reduction in your consignment stock and an increase in your warehouse stock. Also, when the customer returns the goods after they are used or after consignment invoicing, this process like the usual customer return. So if they already used it and invoicing is also done, that comes under the normal customer return process as we have in the SAP ByDesign. So I'll show you the live demo now. So we have two sales order, which is like this: 4942 and 4943. So let me show you what it is inside. So 4942 is the consignment fill up sales order for Apollo as a customer and Almica as a consigner. So here I have the product name 3PD, and I have filled up with a 15 quantity. So the product consignment fill up was the item type. And then I have another one, which is 4943. And here I have issued 5 consignment issue. This means this Apollo hospital, the customer has consumed or issued these 5 out of those 15 and ready to use it. and they have invoiced it also. The customer invoice is also done. This one return is I tested, so I'll show you more. So now we can see that how we can do it. So there are two types of return might be. One is for the before issue and one is after issue. So for the consignment fill up return, like something which is not used by the customer yet, we will go to the inbound logistic. And here we have new custodian goods return notification. So the easy way to remember this, that when you issue a product from the pre-delivery, then it's become a custodian goods. So we are returning the custodian goods, which is like before use. Sorry, this is the before use. I mean, this is not used yet. This is just at the delivery location. So here I'll put the delivery notification ID. So custodian CG RN and maybe 02. Okay, maybe I can take the sales order ID also. 4942. Ship to party. Ship to party ID, that is where it is going to get returned. So now this is Almica. And the ship to location will be Almica, Cleveland. Because from there the product has came initially, which is called a fill-up site. Now sender ID is Apollo because it's been coming from the Apollo hospital. Now, one very important thing is that we have to click on this consignment stock. This should be ticked. Otherwise, we will get the error. Now, as soon as I clicked on this, I have more figures here available. So I'll click on add row. I'll take the product ID and I'll fill all the details necessary. Now, how many returns you want to do? So for example, let me just take it for 2. Contract, we did not had any contract because it was not mandatory. Fill up side will be Almica, Cleveland. An account is coming as Apollo. We can check if everything is fine. Inbound delivery notification is consistent. So I'll save it. Okay, so this is done. Now we can go to the inbound delivery notification and do the post goods receipt, which means we are taking back, which means that customer is going to return the product, deliver the product from there to us, our location fill up site. So we have 494202, this one. I'll click on post goods receipt. I'll propose quantities. Okay, so we can see that the target logistic area is this one, and all the details has been come from the previous notification. So I'll save and close. So we are creating the inbound delivery and goods receipt. This means the product is coming back to our location. Let's quickly check the journal entries. Yes, we can see that there's a journal entry as return of non-consumed consignment. So remember why it is non-consumed, because this has come from the consignment fill-up ID. It was not used, so this was the before issue. That's why it's coming as like this. Yeah, we can see all the details here. Let me also open the report for you. Customer consignment report consign. So we have two by default view available by SAP, which is one is consignment overview, another is consignment return and adjustment. So this is for Apollo Hospital. Let me just. So this is showing me the data, which is like return quantity before use is 4, because I already tested with 2 and 2 I did today. Okay, so now let me show you the process, which goes like, now we're talking about the second aspect where we are talking about the sales order, which is consignment issue after issue, where we are like customer Apollo has used those product from their pre-delivered location, the consignment fill up location, and now how that works. So that is a simple terms like a normal customer return. So for that, I'll go again to the inbound. Now I have the new customer return notification. This is a simple one. So we saw that earlier we talked about the return process for the before issue, and now this is about after issue. So this is for the before issue, and this is for the after issue, new customer return notification. So in this session, we are talking about the customer consignment part 2, where we are discussing the consignment return process. So there are two return process, like one is the before consignment issue, which is done through the new custodian goods return notification. Another is the after consignment issue, which is about the new customer return notification. So we are working on this part. So for this new customer return notification, we will have the track. We will have the all the like data in this screen because this is already issued there. So my sales order was 4943. No, wait. Okay, let me just do something here. Let me filter it. So the after issue one is 4943. So I can simply define it with the sales order ID also. Okay. So now I can see that record is coming here, which is like 5 item were the consignment issue. Now we are going to return it. I mean, the customer is returning that to the original location. So I'll select this. I'll go next. Here I'll put the notification ID. So maybe it could be CRN 494302. So why it is giving me this warning? Because I tested this was one quantity. So it's not allowing me for 5. I can try with a 2 as return. Now I can put the return reason here. Or maybe customer can say that return reason is the maybe any reason you can put like a missing part, no reason, or order incorrectly or too expensive. So maybe it could be ordered incorrectly. And now we'll go next. Finish. So this is done. And now we can go to the inbound delivery notification, and we can do the post goods receipt. I'll search with the return ID. This is here. Now I'll do the post goods receipt. Okay, there is something about the output setting. Okay, let's check. Okay, so document is posted. I will check about the output settings. So this is the customer return is done. So if I refresh this, I can see. So the return quantity after issue has become 4. I just did 2, but I tried already. So that's why it's showing me like this. And now let me check something quickly. Okay, this is not done yet. Yeah, so this is the one which is created as a return. Now, the customer is returning the product after the issuing, which is like they have already invoiced the they already paid for the amount for the payment with the product. So now we can give them the credit memo, or we can replace it with the product. So the process for that will go same way as we have the customer return. That can be released with credit memo or without credit memo. Yeah, and then we can submit on the same. So maybe I'm just doing it with a credit memo. And I submit. Yeah. So this is what we are doing, the refund in the general terms. When we return any product, like after we received it, then we return it. So in that case, the company will give you the refund. So this is like that. So the money will be given back to the customer for returning the product. So earlier in the before issue process, we did not do this part because that was not used by them, and they did not pay for that because that was a consignment goods. There was only outbound delivery for their location, but invoicing was not done. So where invoicing is done, which is like the after issue, there we have to do the adjustment. All right. So this is about the return process, like how we can just do the return with the after and before sales. Now we have one more term for the consignment stocks, which is like an adjustment of the consignment stock, which can be necessary, for example, due to some quality issue or differences which cannot be corrected otherwise. With a new consignment stock adjustment common task in the physical inventory work center, we can also have the option to post the absolute quantity in consignment stock, or just an additional receipt, that is delta, or on the top of the existing quantity. So I'll show you that how we can do that part. I'll go to the physical inventory. And then here we have a new consignment stock adjustment. Yeah, here we will fill the data. So the fill up ID is Armika Cleveland, which is P1100. Custodian ID is Apollo. And if we have the cost center ID defined, we can mention it here. Otherwise, this is not mandatory right now. Still, without it, the system will work. And the product I'll take and I'll go. So it's showing me that the existing product quantity is 198 each. Now, if I want to adjust it, I'll go next. So we have three adjustment type available: absolute, delta issue, delta receipt. So absolute will keep the quantity as it is. For example, if it is 188 or 198, if I make it 200, the stock will be adjusted to 200 quantity. And if it is delta issue, then if I put any number here, it will decrease that amount. For example, we are deducting we are taking some of the stocks out from that fill up ID because of some issues, and we want to adjust it here. Delta receipt is something which will be add. So we will see all of these together. So absolute, I'll do 200. So the quantity difference is 2 because it was already 198, and with the 200, it is increasing 2. So the absolute is like 200 is going to be here. Okay. Now we saw the absolute, and now we'll see the delta issue. It is 200 right now. So let me take the delta issue as 15. I'll go next. I can see that minus 15 is here. Earlier it was just 2, which was the plus 2. Now the value will be 185. I'll finish it. And last one I'll show you for the delta receipt. Fill up site ID is P. Okay, let me just make it 15 was deducted. So this time I'll make it 50, 60, 65. So it will come to 250. Yeah. So with my receipt, it will increase to 65 more, and it will be 250. So we see in the delta issue, it was coming in minus, and here is it is in positive, which is no sign here. And with the absolute also, it was same. So this is how we can do the consignment stock adjustment, and which is being done when due to some quality issue or the differences which cannot be corrected otherwise. So in that case, this is done. So now if I show you the stock overview of this product. So if I talk about this one, so this 250 is the quantity which is consignment, because I did the consignment stock adjustment. This is showing me like this. And if I talk about otherwise, then 65 is at the fill up ID. This is Almika Cleveland. And this 49 you see, this is with the other customer, another one. So this is Apollo. With the Apollo, it is showing me 250. We have one more, which is consignment stock overview. So here, okay, I'll take the product only. Okay, let me take the custodian ID here, which is Apollo. Okay, so I can see that consignment stock which I just adjusted is 250 here. And this is my account ID. This is the fill up side. Fill up side is something from where the product is coming originally, which is coming from the Almica heating Cleveland. If we would maintain the identify stock, that will also show here. If there is a product specification there also. And here we see that owner is still Almica. Ownership is with Almica only because this is the product which is fill up, not the issued one. Ownership still remains with the one with the fill up site ID until the product is consumed. Okay, and we can look into the journal entries as well. Okay, so these are the goods received without. Okay, so the consignment stock, goods received without reference. This is the one where we talked about for the after issue. We have the customer return entry. I think a lot of people are joining now and we are about to finish the session. Thank you for joining. So this entry was about the customer return, where the semi-finished goods inventory is debited and the material consumption is credited. Okay, so these are the key takeaways from this session. The customer can return consignment stock before they used or issued it without the obligation to pay. Yeah, which we saw, which was about the before issue, where we created the new custodian goods return notification. Second one was the customer can return the consignment stock after using, which is after invoicing is done, after using the goods. So here we talked about like how we can do the customer return, and we can also give back the money they have paid. We can just do the refund with a credit memo. And then we saw that we can also process the consignment stock return after the consignment invoicing as the usual customer return process. Correct. So in the second type, where it is talking about the after issue, this is like a normal customer return process in the SAP ByDesign system. Also, you can use the contract ID as a reference while creating a customer notification for consignment stock. So if you have maintained the contract between that consigner and the consignee, then also with that reference, you can do the customer return notification. Last is the customer return process related to the consignment sale is the same as standard customer returns. Yes, which is what we saw. Okay, so this is all about our session today. And some people have joined later. So let me tell them that what we talked about in our session. So this session was about customer consignment stock, which is a kind of a pre-delivery. So here, a company named Almica is delivering some goods to the Apollo Hospital, which is the customer of Almica. So the Apollo Hospital is the consignee, the receiver, the customer, and Almica is the owner, also the sender. Also, they can have a long-term agreement or contract, which is optional. But if they want, they can have the contract, which is available in the SAP ByDesign system. So when this customer request for the consignment goods is something which is pre-delivered. I mean, the customer doesn't have to pay until they use the product. They don't issue it. So the request of the consignment good in the ByDesign, we first create a sales order fill-up creation, which means that consignment stock will increase and warehouse stock of this consigner will decrease. So this consignment goods will be issued to this customer. So outbound delivery will be done, but there will not be any invoicing. So the invoicing will be done then when they want to issue the consignment stock from their location. In that case, the customer invoice is done. So when they issue the product, and if they found any issue before or after issues, then we have the return process. So we talked about the return process before invoice and after invoice. So this was all about today's session. Thank you so much. Now we can have the open discussion. So those who have joined new, they can ask the question, and if they have any additional query, then please do ask.
Yeah, Priyanka, this is Kevin. Really
Yes,
thank
Kevin.
you. You explained the very good in the fit up process and return process, the customer invoicing process, and return process after invoicing. I think that's really good. And then I think it was very useful. You show the consignment the stock adjustment process. That's a really nice one. Thank you.
Yeah.
I got one question.
Yes.
Actually, it looks very easy from the user perspective. They can make some any adjustment in the stock
Yes.
consignment stock side, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but it might be very useful. But however, in terms of the security, in terms of the compliance, it might be very difficult for the company to manage all the stuff.
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
is there any good ways to have a monitor any adjustment in the consignment process?
We can make sure that we don't give that work center access to anyone. It should
Uh-huh.
only be given to the person who is like not going to do it without the permission of his manager.
Okay.
So I think something like that can be done. And about adjustment, yeah. So we need to find
Um,
more that from where we can track it. That what is the actual one, like coming from the sales order, or which one is the one which is we adjusted through the consignment stock
mm,
adjustment.
I see. I see. Yeah, that's useful. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, Kevin. Anybody else? Any questions? So if you have any doubts, you can discuss, or if there's any language issue, you can just type in the chat box. Also, if you want to see the previous session, then that is on our YouTube channel. Let me show you. Where is it? Uh, CSG Asia Pacific YouTube. Yeah, this is our YouTube channel. We've already uploaded the first part, which is here, customer consignment part 1. And today I'll upload this part from the beginning. So you can refer to that. In case if you have more question, you can reach us. There are the details. So you can reach us to the different social media, and also we have this info@csgasiapacific.com. You can write a mail, or you can reach us to the Facebook page or something. So I'll just copy this link to the Zoom chat. So if you want to access, you can do it from here. So that's all about today's session, and I'll see you all next week with a new topic. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining the session.
Thank you very